Hello, welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos Fathomless, the hip-hop podcast set in the world of Fierlor. I am your Dungeon Master Darby, and joining me as always are Mitch, playing 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, Jake, playing Fishman, Joe, playing Alton, Laura, playing 𝗔𝗦𝗧, Zoe, playing Loren, and potentially making their return, depending on how things play out, Eddie, playing his new character. Let's jump into it. Warning, this week's episode of Wyverns and Weirdos has moments that focus heavily on body horror and horror themes. You have been warned. So, where we last left off, the party started their ventures into the Underdark after an encounter of sorts with a strange, gargantuan, frog-like being, a froghemoth, if you will. And after entering the Underdark and beginning their exploration, they stumbled stealthily upon the sight and the sound of 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 discussing plans with someone quite familiar to Alton. His brother, Wyverns 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, actually departed at one point, and Valen greeted his brother and his friends before inviting them to dinner and leading them into the city of the Drow here at 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. So, as you reach 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 itself, you notice there aren't a lot of tall buildings like there would be above the surface. There's not a lot of vertical space to fit them. Rather, there are a lot of a more sprawling nature to the cityscape than even the largest of cities that you have seen in the Isles and beyond. Most of the buildings are made of stone, a resource that is clearly in abundance here, and you find the streets are actually quite well lit, at least enough to kind of get about with these crystals that permeate the edges of the walls. My residence here in the city isn't too far away. Is there anything you would like to see before we make our way there, or shall we go straight on ahead?
Although it's been some time since I've been at the Underdark, it'd be interesting to explore the place. I can't think of anything in particular. What about you folks?
I'm merely here for tea, by the sound of it.
I can think of nothing better. Although I am quite impressed by this Underdark. I have not ventured here before, being a mercenary person. Dad does genuinely look very interested. He flashes a big grin at Alton's brother.
Roll me a deception check for how stilted a performance that was.
How terrible would it be if I got a nat 20? It was like, that was him doing well. Yeah, no, that checks. What's this deception? It was deception?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good deception. 14.
There's a brief look of strange man from Valen, but otherwise doesn't seem particularly suspicious.
This nondescript elf is quite handsome and just seems weird anyway.
All right. Well, yes, brother?
Oh, no, just saying, yes, the silver swords that we work for, they've never had much of a reason to go down here, more topsiders.
I can imagine so. So, onwards to home then?
Indeed, I'm curious to see, yes, your place.
Well, yes, I must warn you, brother, it's not the most elaborate place. It's merely my residence here in the city. Humble abode for taking guests and a bit of a workshop so that I continue my work while I am here.
Of course, no, don't need the fanciest trappings for the place where you work.
Whilst these guys are chatting away, can Fishman check and just have a look around and look at the general reception of if there's anyone around? What's their responses to seeing us?
Sure. Roll me a
Perception. I can do that. So that is a 16.
16. Okay. So with a 16, you notice there are a few odd looks that come your way, but most of them aren't. Yeah, most people don't seem to be too perturbed by your presence, but there's still a slight wariness to it.
Cool. Fishman's just going to note that, and then probably upkeep his detect languages as well if he can. Just ritually cast that as they're traveling, just as he's been doing the whole way.
I guess like as we're walking along, this very nondescript brunette human woman is walking along. Lorena's going to be looking out for any signs of 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, anything she maybe remembers from when she was around 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 for those brief few days, like any indicators maybe we wouldn't normally look for, to see if he's like anywhere in this part of the city as we're walking along.
Roll me a perception check.
My first roll was a natural 1, making it a 2. So I've extended a sorcery point to reroll my dice, making it a 12. Loren is just very paranoid, as she has been about most things to do with 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. So her eyes are just going everywhere. But she's so paranoid, it's sort of looped back in on itself, and it's hard to notice anything because she's just too busy trying to take everything in. And she is also trying to eavesdrop on Alton and his brother, but I feel like they probably keep switching between common and undercommon, and she's just not having a great time right now. So that's what she's doing.
And very quickly, as we're walking, while Lunan and Fishman are looking out for danger or intel or possible scary robot men, Janice is also watchful for danger, but he does lean in towards whatever Nero's picked for his fake name and is like, have you been to the Underdark before? Curious place.
It is indeed very interesting. Such importance for my research.
Yes, as a Silver Swords member, absolutely. Sure does take you to some amazing places, the mercenary life.
Indeed, I am most grateful I was able to accompany you on this venture.
Yes, no, this is excellent. Well, I'm sure our brief stop by will our friend Alton. Friend's place will be great, and we will learn much. Not that we're coming here to learn too much, but yes, great to just pass on through.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to take this research that is not incriminating or anything of the sorts back so that I may study it.
Well, don't worry. I don't want to. I know you need to focus on your studying, so we don't have to make any more small talk. We'll just let Alton lead the way. He claps him on the shoulder.
So Alton would have been probably looking very nervous. This whole time he's probably he looks just on the wrong foot the whole time, just absolutely not prepared for what has been happening. He probably also looks a lot younger than usual, a lot less confident. So he's probably just looking around quite nervously, looking like this. But at hearing this exchange, he will turn to as surreptitiously as possible and just mouth, "What the fuck, guy?"
Just shrugs and grins.
He rolls his eyes. He'll also quickly have a look at Fishman to make sure that Rat isn't visible, because when they stopped before, he would have given Rat to Fishman and told him to keep him hidden and keep him safe.
You just see Fishman kind of picking biscuits from his ration and putting them into his shoulder piece. There's kind of a gap to go on the inside. You could probably put 2 and 2 together, but you can't see Rat, and you can't see where that food's going.
Excellent. All right, I'll shrug it and we'll keep going.
So, as you approach of the well-appointed, what modern for what manner, my brother.
Of course, many thanks for your hospitality. And you'll just kind of like awkwardly, I guess, enter.
There. So you must be Taylor's brother.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, he might have mentioned me before, Luther, the one that has been away for a long time.
Desidor.
Desidora, it's wonderful to meet you. I heard that he went away to get married, but I hadn't heard much of you. It's a pleasure. I guess he will shake her hand.
Well, I'm afraid dinner is a little while. Might come towards your brother.
Of course. We did arrive rather unannounced.
It's fun. Feel free to, but want for my work.
Oh, yes, of course. I'd be quite curious to see what you've come up with. Imagine so. Sounds very interesting. Is it alright if the rest of my crew comes too, or? Indeed. Can't say many of them are as technologically minded as myself, or especially you, but should be interesting, folks.
They may.
Indeed. Right then.
As we're walking along, Lunan is just going to walk up alongside Neris, kind of elbow his elbow a little bit, and just sign Luther. Luther?
Neris is just going to nod. Sorry, Steven is just going to nod. Essentially going, yep, we heard that.
Loren kind of nods back, and I will also note her finger spelling is like very slow. Like you can tell she's actively been trying to pick this up rather than it being natural like some of the other signs she knows. But she just kind of nods and then just kind of falls in step and keeps going. And it's like, well, a few of us are very arcane minded. I would be very interested to see what you have going on, Valen.
And walk by workshop where there are 6 figures of various all mishmash of undead, but there is one and towards the back of almost like describe.
Just quickly, Darby, these constructs, the way that they're displayed, are they caged or chained specifically, or how are they confined as such?
There is no chain there. They are collared and they're all like gauntlet range. The way this is done varies from between but they are standing, but also somewhat there's an awareness there, definitely, but almost like a creature dominant.
Okay, so the end of this line of miraculous, if not slightly daunting display of constructs is a creature that you can see is folded forward. Its limbs are... It's on all fours, if you could describe it as such. You can see that to look at, it seems quite wrong. It may have once been something, but you're not quite sure what. Tufts of fur sprout out in random places, along with twisted, strange, almost limbs that warp around, coming from its back. Its limbs that are on the ground bend in strange ways as it holds itself forward, its back and spine arced. Many of its ribs seem to be on display, and you see a rusted old collar and chain connecting through the ribs to the shackles of its front limbs. Part of it seems to be decaying, but you don't sense any smell of decay, more so that the decay is nothing but a part of the creature itself. When you look into its eyes, you notice a vacant expression, and there is the tattered remnants of what once may have been a hood or a cape that has almost fused into part of its skin to perpetually be a part of it. And half of its face is exposed, teeth and jaw raw, and it looks at you with a vacant expression. Now, for those of you who are here, I will send forward a partial rendering of what this creature would look like.
And for listeners and viewers, the YouTube version should have the official art overlaid over the video just momentarily.
Oh, it's a little. I want to say flesh Exley, and it's like Flexley.
Oh boy, the chain going through its ribs. That's a nice touch.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Yeah,
a little
so there would have
face.
already been a content warning for our listeners, but once again, there are a few content warnings for this character for body horror as far as the description of its image. So if we do have any other content warnings that need to arise to this character, they will be in the show notes and at the start of the episode.
Fair. I can see why the sign says no snooping.
Yeah.
It looks like it's getting a hug from behind
Oh,
as
there we
well.
go.
Like someone's going like,
You're right. Just a little hug. Also,
Yeah.
just as a heads up,
Oh, I will note,
Janice
Sorry.
greatly disapproves is in the corner of the screen.
I will note also that there are spots of different forms of almost fungus-like rot and decay that do grow out of certain parts of this creature, but that isn't in the art yet.
is this Exley's son?
It's Exley's like,
Aw.
oh, who knows? It's like Exley's little fan baby of Exley.
Also, Darby, I sent you
Yeah.
a message I want to read.
So, Valen points out this particular one. Well, maybe patient, but does have his uses, that Exley. I am glad to see that you are all noting the presence of the sheer presence, sheer power that you can see emanating off this one. I'm very proud of it. The enhancement of the base necromancy with the artifice that our family is so well known for is something I'm quite proud of.
Indeed, this definitely looks like powerful creatures. They're incredible. What is it like? Some kind of like they flesh golems mixed with constructs? What exactly are they?
They began as entities brought to undeath by the Mistforged. Then he had his own experiments. They were crude. They were based on ancient magic, a term that he has brought them, a crude, extended life. And so when we spoke and discovered he was done with his experiments upon them, I offered more, purely to see if I could. But, of course, also, you wouldn't want your own private foot soldiers enhanced by one of the greatest dark artifacts known here at all.
I suppose so. That would be quite the army to contest against.
Yeah.
I never took you for necromancy, though. Was that all Exley's part?
I have dabbled in tiny bits, but yes, it was primarily Exley's work, the necromancy.
I think quite powerful. These creatures, do they look like just general undead? Like undead just tend to just be like, I don't know, just like controlled, not very sentient from my understanding, or do they look more sentient than normal? Like, are they just like standing there, or what exactly?
Roll me insight check.
Can a couple of us jump in on that insight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like,
think
how
Janice
fucked
might
up
roll.
is-
I will also note
that a
Janice is
wand?
standing very tall and straight and very still the second we come down here, but I And he looks fine. There's a bit of an energy around to the people closest to him that you can, probably not hard to tell. He has some thoughts about this.
The Lunan is also like pressing her lips together in this carefully neutral face next to Jupiter.
Noticing that we are now outnumbered in the room, Neris is checking to see whether this is a trap.
That is a 14 insight from Loren.
14, did you say? There is an there's a deadness to the eyes on them.
There was a 22 for Jupiter, if that makes anything.
Would you like me to take the reins with my specific entity, or?
Yeah. Alton, what was yours?
I rolled a nat 1, so that was a 4.
That one. Okay. But yeah.
Just
So
like,
Alton,
something-
they just seem like dead behind the eyes.
It's fine.
Zombie automata. But Janice, most of them seem dead behind the eyes. But the one that Valen seems to be the most proud of, Eddie, would you like to describe what Jupiter?
So, I think to an extent, Loren even would see that there is something different about this one in particular. Less so where the others look automaton-like behind the eyes. This one seems a bit more like like you've seen a trained dog. If Loren has ever seen like a ship's dog before, a well-trained ship's dog or a harbour dog that sits at attention, there is a feralness there also. Janice, you can see that this creature is not like the others. There's something within this creature that doesn't seem to be fully construct. You can detect that while it doesn't seem like this creature has a full level of brightness and attention, and you don't think if you addressed it you would get some form of response, you can see that there's something ticking behind the eyes there, but you're not quite sure what.
Janice's brow furrows. Oh, sorry, Jupiter's brow furrows. But he does not leave, his gaze does not leave this creature.
Brother, you recall the issue have often been the limit on automata, simple servant.
Yes, of course.
There's the inability to act independently, think for themselves. There are, of course, benefits to this. Of course, you don't want them going off and thinking for themselves too much. Otherwise, they might be a bit too close to an unofficial and no longer be truly a construct in this sense. Less a zombie or a golem than a franchised lich.
Interesting way to put it.
Well, I think with Galut's monstrosity over here, I have truly breached that barrier. The ways that I have constructed its casing is fully obedient, but it can pick up on the intricacies and implications of what you say. No need to be ethically literal with it. It will pick up your intentions, and it will have a level of autonomy without being dangerous to those commands.
Why the achievement? How exactly did you manage this level of intelligence?
Well, the base of the creature was definitely well, but truly, in the end, that prevent any recovery. Simply put, when Galut was given unlife, then all Edward was at missing, or so I understand. I simply built upon that the restraints I have forged and merged to its body.
Alton kind of looks at like the chains that are kind of like weaving into its body, like through its ribs, and looks like momentarily like somewhat repulsed. That's quite powerful. So the Mistforge is able to make these creatures, and then you were able to make them more intelligent, more controlled.
Intelligence is not. No, this was a recent acquisition. One of the Mistforge's more adventurous experiments. He has had the beast for I do not know how long, but it has recently come into my care, and I've been able to further the experimenting.
I see, it's fascinating. And I guess Ashen will walk a little closer to one of them. It's kind of peering at them a little bit. Yeah. Is it okay to ask why? Is this just a loan from the Mistforged?
No. They were a gift, a trade for information. There are many ways of putting it, but they are mine. They are truly mine. All that Exley desires is the ability to replicate them, or at least the ability to have them replicate.
Of course, so no need for these if we can just make more. That makes sense. So what exactly are you going to do with them, if that's all right? There's still all these land skirmishes going on down here. Going to expand, do some more expansion to other countries?
Little bit of that. I'm afraid I don't want to give away all my tricks, brother.
No, of course, just making a guess from what our family was always interested in. No, that makes sense, I'm sure. I'm sure Mum and Dad would be quite proud. And he kind of just walk over the creature closely.
No, I have a few notes of work and business that might be of interest to you.
Oh, really?
Something that being worked on in the way of firearms. Bolts. That were always more your area of expertise and interest.
Yes, I was always better at the mechanical stuff. No, I would be quite interested in such a thing. Always trying to work to make little improvements on these things.
Yeah.
What a reminder.
I'm afraid, friends, I must ask you to stay outside of the vault. There is many family secrets and industries kept within. Family only. I'm sure you are. You're welcome to stay within the workshop. Don't break anything. Although, I'm sure Galut will make sure that does not happen. And he gives you a glance, Galut.
Galut, its shackles raise, and you hear a guttural expel from its lungs.
Of course, we wouldn't want to go encroach on any family time.
Oh, never frowned family business, of course. Go ahead, we'll wait here. We'll try not to break anything. We won't break anything, because we don't do that. Because we're very good mercenaries.
I'm sure they'll be fine here.
All right, this way, brother. And Valen steps towards the vault, quickly runs through a combination and opens the door. After you.
Certainly.
Can I get a perception check from anyone who's still in the room with Galut?
Yeah. Hang on.
You want Fishman sees everything.
3.
7.
Janice is too flustered at the fact that he's bad at lying suddenly.
Neris got an 18 perception, and also it was a 21 insight before to see whether this is a no good, very bad room.
The room that you're currently standing in?
Yes, which Neris would
The zombies in it.
yelled at them.
It's a great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of things in here. Other than the undead construct, there's nothing that's particularly screaming out at you a singular massive red flag.
I mean, there's 6 very small red flags.
This is kind of a red flag
That's fine.
factory at this point.
Yeah, there's like a parade of
Yeah.
red flags.
Yeah.
Like,
There is, I mean, you notice that there is a cannon trained on the door. And
I'm sorry, a cannon?
yes.
Cool. You step away from the door.
Maybe it's as you step away from the door that while the others may not have been, may have just been watching Alton and Valen leave, as you step away from the door, your eye catches 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 as it shifts slightly, and you see its head has turned to watch Valen leave. And the schooled, emotionless expression that you saw before, its face doesn't change, but you see a venom in its eyes as it watches Valen leave. And I think once it notices it's being watched, its eyes glass over again, and that almost drops imperceptibly.
And yeah, so Valen gestures for Alton to step into the vault. And
Yep, I'll step into that vault.
so as you do, as you enter, you notice that the vault is kind of strewn in the middle with a mixture of body parts and machine parts. There's a couple of partial incomplete skeletons, one or two blade bodies, and segments of metal plating and gears. The like. There is a single pistol on a workbench or on a writing desk in the corner, which also has an open tome upon it and a collection of tools. There's a wooden cage in the corner opposite, as well as at the back shelf with what appear to be a number of ledgers. Yes, you'll have a look, and Valen goes over to the desk and rifles through a few papers that are on the top left corner. Now, I don't have it entirely easily accessible because I wasn't expecting to see you today. But I do have some papers here on a few potential mechanism ideas.
Understandable and very kind of you. Gotta say, charming decor in here. Works in progress.
Yes, works in progress and copies of the books. Need to keep those locked up.
No, understandably. Get many people trying to break in here, or?
No, but always helps one is
Absolutely. I must say, it's very kind of you to offer to share some of the, our family secrets, family information.
well, your family as well.
Yes, I'm glad that we're still family after all these years apart.
You know, it's interesting. Not many people return from disappearing twice. You
That
are
is true.
quite
Yes.
a little miracle worker, brother.
Yes, so I've heard. I rather think I'm just very unlucky to disappear twice to begin with.
Yes, very, very unlucky. The factory explosion.
Yes, quite the amount of dangerous explosives and chemicals everywhere.
Yeah.
Fortunately, rather volatile.
Volatile, but yet you'd think that our parents and all their wisdom would make sure that there were proper safety working with all those volatile all their years.
You think so? I assume someone just slipped up. Or do you think someone tampered with it, or?
All things considered, sabotage does likely option when you consider the amount of things that would have to go wrong, the amount of caution that thing.
That is true. I had considered it. Our family's always been a threat to many people. Do you have any theories as to the culprit?
No theory. The device enabled you to scrape through that strange thing. Tell me, what of those?
He looks very uncomfortable all of a sudden. The devices from that artificer here that kept me alive, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, they were very experimental. Had to have a few adjustments over the years to keep me alive.
And yet, here you are, living
Yes.
and breathing before my very eyes.
Indeed, more or less.
I put so much work into being sole inheritor, and I am going.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, that is a nat 20.
Fuck.
As he roars out his scimitar and stabs for a 31 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So that is gonna be, so to begin with, it is 16 points of slashing damage.
You probably won't kill me, I said. You were the nice sibling.
Never trust a nice sibling.
It was the same with Alton, like his buddy in Ankathir.
Holy shit, yeah.
It's always the nice ones. Only Rat and Fishman.
Fishman's gonna fucking betray me now.
Oh wow.
We'll find out Fishman's actually like the true bad guy of the entire campaign when he gets his memories back.
What's the rest of them?
66 points of poison damage.
Okay. I have a thing against poison. I'm pretty sure. Shit. Resistances. Fuck. Something me using the phone one and it's not working. Oh no, I can't.
You have advantage on saving throws against poison. No resistance.
No resistance. Okay, so how much damage was that?
66 points.
So I'm unconscious.
Okay. So can I get everyone roll?
We don't like hear this or anything. We're just vibing in the horror terror room.
When does dinner coming out?
The top of initiative, the unconscious Alton. Please roll me a death saving throw. And don't announce the result, message it to me.
It has been done. I shall message.
All right. Wonderful. So next is
Hate that.
next is Janice.
Okay, so currently we're looking around, we're just waiting in this room. A little bit of time has elapsed. During this time, Janice has just been standing very uneasy. He's been sort of like trying to catch the eye of like Loren and then Neris and then Fishman, but they probably all have their other things that they're trying to focus on currently or investigating potentially, even if they've moved. So he's just sort of standing there with his arms sort of folded behind his back. As his time's been elapsing, just looking very uneasy. He doesn't like being in this room. He doesn't like being around these constructs, this strange brother that Alton's super familiar with when Alton's kind of cagey around everyone. The fact this brother has now introduced these experiments that he's so proudly talking about, and he just keeps sort of sliding his gaze over it, that the one that his brother was so proud of, this 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. He just looks very uneasy, but so Janice is just kind of pacing, I guess, like if any kind of action seems to arise, but like we haven't heard anything to indicate, because this is in a vault, so I assume we can't. So I guess like Janice will just sort of like move to sort of just like pace in the middle of the room, and just like look over the different creatures, quotation marks. But yeah, unfortunately he hasn't heard any noises or anything like that too. I'm just confirming as well. I did roll a perception check and I got a 4, so alas. But yeah, he just seems to sort of study these creatures, again looking very uneasy. And that's his turn.
All right. Next is Wyvern. You do not see. He is within the vault, doing whatever he may do. And Alton, you don't even know what he's doing because you're in there unconscious. Let's keep it at that for now. Loren, it's your go.
So, in our little group chat, Darby has revealed that it was basically of the current party members. Because one, we're going to be working on that. I'm the only one who heard a thud behind the door. So I guess Loren was like checking out this little salt circle, not salt circle, but like the chalk kind of markings on the floor. Because they're in almost like a runic spell circle shape, but not one she would really recognize, I would assume. She's kind of checking it out, smudging the chalk, seeing if there's anything magic in it. And then behind the vault door, she just hears like a thud, and instantly her head just kind of cocks to the side, almost bird-like, and then very slowly she stands up, kind of looks around, I think Alton might have tripped and fallen over in there.
What?
Just heard a noise. Maybe it would benefit us to give the door a little knock, wouldn't it?
Maybe so.
And as she says this, her staff does not have the spear prongs extended, but she just takes her staff off her back. And the inside of the orb begins to swirl. And I guess I'm gonna use my action to hold a, I'm gonna hold an ice knife for either when I see Valen or when the door opens, whichever comes first. And I'm gonna do that at a 3rd level because I'm running out of seconds.
What's the range on Ice Knight?
60 feet.
60 feet? Yeah, so easily within range of the vault door.
But she's just given a lot of vibes like, we should get that door open, gang.
You might notice also the moment you pull your staff out, Galoot, still expressionless, as far as you can tell, turns its head and watches you. Still on all fours, still stationed where it was.
Unless there is anything else around, it now turns to the Fishman.
Alright, cool. After hearing what Loren said, he'll say, "That was no trick. Fucking knew it." And he will simply just take a step and disappear. You've probably seen this before. And what he's essentially doing is casting Etherealness, and he will be essentially bolting. Let me double check he can do that. He can't use his bonus action to dash, can he? That's a rogue thing. Okay, hang on. Before he does this, he needs to make sure he can make it. Sorry, give me a second. I need to check out how these boots work again.
I believe that his bonus action activated at a point double yours.
Okay, that's what he does. He bonus actions. Hang on, sorry, let me double check what his etherealness is. I should have checked this. I didn't realize he was so far away. That's also a bonus action. Yeah, so I guess he'll just bonus action etherealness. Actually, I think Mitch asked earlier if we could see in the vault briefly as it opened.
Yes.
Could Fishman... Let me double check that. So yeah, could Fishman Misty Step in that?
How far does that get you?
Fishman will just close a distance with movement beforehand.
Yeah, closing the distance, you could definitely Misty Step in that.
Just for my editing sanity, can you rephrase it as this is what Fishman does?
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
sorry.
I don't want to edit too much.
I didn't realize he was so far away.
No, that's all good. I don't want to edit too much. I'll just make it easier in my brain later on. Thank you.
So upon hearing what Loren said, he'll say, "That was no fucking trick. I fucking knew it," as he runs towards the vault door and then disappears in a puff. Very different to what you've seen where he just simply disappears. This is what most of you would probably recognize as a Misty Step. And he's essentially aiming to appear right at the other side of the vault door if he can. Because he did see it earlier as I believe Neris did as well when it opened.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we'll bend the rules of the spell a little bit for that. Because, you can visualize it.
But yeah, what does he see?
You see Alton on the floor bleeding out as Valen holds a scimitar in one hand. A small scimitar, but a scimitar nonetheless. And in his offhand holds a small black crystal. You couldn't leave well enough alone, could you? Do you have anything left of your turn?
Yes, he still has an action.
Yeah.
I believe. Right. That crystal, does that look familiar to Fishman? Is that similar to the crystal that received from the Sphinx?
No.
Does it look anything similar to the crystals we found in the Underdark?
No.
And does it look of the Underdark?
Not specifically, no.
And you couldn't be any less trustworthy if you tried. As Fishman says that, he'll look on the ground and see Alton bleeding out. And now it's a very tough decision for him because he knows that Alton's in danger. but also dying. So if he can, probably the most important thing is he's used a spell already.
Yeah.
He's going to, just literally completely ignore Valen, because that's really top priority at the moment, and try and stabilize if he can.
Okay.
I'll just double check that he doesn't have a potion. Oh, he has one potion left, actually.
Okay.
If he can, he'll just do that.
All right.
Yeah. So he'll use his action.
It is an action to feed someone a potion.
Cool.
To roll. What level of potion is it?
This is a potion of healing greater, his last one.
Greater, so that is...
So that's 44 plus 4. Oh god. Yeah. And I guess there's nothing else he can do. His full attention is to Alton, with a side eye on this slimy bastard.
So roll that, and while we're working out how much that is, we will move on to Neris.
So Neris has been very focused on this, on all of the creatures, but very specifically the one at the back, who has made no indication that they are intelligent except for a glimmer in the eyes, which shows Neris a lot more than I think what he wanted to know. And then on hearing what Loren said and what Fishman has done, Neris goes to reach for Janice, who I believe he's next to.
Yeah. Janice has gone off a bit since...
Oh, no.
I was kind of wondering. Yeah.
Never mind. Then we'll take a step towards Loren and reach out, and then his eyes will kind of flick over to Galut and the other creatures, and he's just going to quickly sign watch or alert, or one of these very quick signs of be on your guard or look out, and is then also going to sprint towards the vault and disappear in a puff of smoke.
Okay.
What is going on?
So what spell are you using there?
We are also
Stepping
using Misty Step
into the vault. Okay.
into the vault, please.
Okay. Do you have anything else you can do?
I do still have an action.
Yeah.
I've got no movement, no action. So he's going to, I think, look on the ground where Alton is, go to reach into his satchel for an amulet that he's had with him for a while, and see an empty potion bottle being thrown on the ground. And Neris is then going to look up at Valen. The crystal that he's holding, is he just like grasping it, or is it like hovering in his hand?
He is grasping it.
Then I think there's no point trying to talk at this point. So Neris is just going to look up at everything, look over at Fishman, and is then just going to squint at Valen, I guess, and will cast Mind Sliver, try and almost penetrate his mind. So that is an intelligence saving throw.
So, intelligence save is that is a 30.
A 30?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's very interesting. So Valen will feel like a little tickle in his brain as this tiny skinny man appears in the room next to an alligator. And that is all Neris's turn.
Okay. So, next. So, Janice and Loren, you two notice as at least 5, maybe 6, we will see in a moment, but at least 5 of the entities in the room kind of spring into action, per se. Not aggressively, but almost like soldiers in a formation. And 2 of them march towards you, Loren, while the other 3 march towards Janice. And then the last one will have an opportunity to choose what it does, as it is a PC. But has a little bit more autonomy than the others. But for now, let me bring up the stat block for these things. And
whoa, Phallus, we're just checking on our buddy. We're not any kind of danger to you. We're just checking on our friend, and also it's my birthday. I'm a little birthday girl, and you can't fight someone on their birthday. Actually, you can't fight someone on their
Precisely,
birthday.
it's actually illegal. You should stop. For your own sake.
It's his birthday too. Actually, it's all our
We're
birthdays.
twins.
It was the
Can't you tell?
I know. It's the resemblance is uncanny.
Okay. As you are as you wrap up this kind of desperate plea to not be attacked, you have two daggers that go to slash at you. The lower of which is a 16. Does that hit?
Me? Me?
Yes.
Yes. Me? You were talking to me?
I don't know. It might. Yeah.
Yes, a 16 hits me.
Okay. So the first one does 8 points of slashing damage and 20 points of necrotic damage.
Uh-huh.
And the second one does 6 points of slashing damage and 19 points of necrotic damage.
Okay. I'm gonna wait till my turn, but I'm gonna have to roll a saving throw. I went from 57 hit points to 4, gang.
Oh.
I think these guys are gonna meet sicko mode. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. And then the three around you.
Come on.
Funnily enough, I don't think any of these are going to hit because the highest is a 13.
Oh my gosh.
I rolled a 6, a 3, and a 1.
So as the three of these creatures, I assume they're probably about the same height as Janice, who's 6'5", I believe. I can't remember. Tall. Because they're joining in with Loren's like silly little patter, as Loren gets stabbed, he just turns to face them and grins, and then just ducks to the left, to the right, and then back. And the grin continues to creep up his face until he turns around and hears Loren be like sort of recoil as this necrotic energy drives into her. He's like, Loren, and that's all he has in his reaction time.
All right. Look, what would you like to do?
So, quick question for you, Darby, as the DM. Was there some form of command or alert that has caused the autonoma to start being reactive?
A general.
Those that are not Galut.
It is a general contingent command that you would be aware of to act if it seems that the vault is being invaded or gone for at all by anyone not authorized to be in the vault. And these four, the two within the vault and the two outside, definitely seem to be trying to access the vault without authority to do so.
Okay. I love my fellow players very dearly. I wish that there was any reason given that Galut would not act right now. But
Hit me. You can do it. You'll just enjoy it.
Loren, you would not see as you have been attacked. But Janice, Galut was quite large and tall as you saw it standing at inattention, hunched over. It was maybe almost 5 feet hunched over. So taller than a great many creatures. But you see, after you duck and weave and throw a vicious grin, you may turn, and as you're turning, see in your periphery as this creature, this monstrosity, slowly stands up to its full height. And in this room, it is giant. It stands well over 8 feet tall and is quite imposing. And you see its eyes flick to you and then flick over to the prone Loren. Now, Darby, to pick someone up, would that be an action?
So,
or an object interaction, depending on their level of consciousness?
it would more so be a it would be, so you have multi-attack. So it would be the first thing you would have to do would be a grapple check, which would be the first of your attacks, basically.
Okay. So if Galut was to succeed on this grapple attack, it could make another attack.
Yes.
It could make its second attack.
Yes.
Cool. So it looks at you, Janet, and then you see it turn to Loren, and it hefts up the unconscious Loren.
Loren's not unconscious.
Loren's not unconscious?
Barely
No,
conscious.
4 HP.
4 HP. Okay.
Re-edit your line. It's fine. We can.
Yeah.
Get rid of
No,
that.
sorry. I thought completely that Loren was out for the count, so it wouldn't do
You
this.
can't
It
kill me
would have
that
done this-
easy, baby.
Yeah, it would have done this if Loren was out for the count. But it sees, yeah. So it stands at its full height, and it sees. Loren, you would actually see this. You would see, considering the fact that you're conscious, you would see Galut stand to its full height. And Janice, the creature, having seen you evade its lesser siblings in such a quick manner, it strides over to you almost calmly, its cleft feet making these great thud, thud, thud sounds as it slowly lumbers over to you. And as it leers over you, you don't see any form of viciousness, any form of hatred. It's almost with a disregard that it reaches a hand towards you. And let's see, you would see just out of your heightened senses and periphery, one hand is reaching for you, and the other hand slowly reaches around, and bullet time, you see a great claw extending and protruding from its flesh. But you see that, and you duck and weave under it because Galut rolled a nat 1 for its first attack.
Ooh,
And-
Janice lets a sharp exhale as he ducks and almost like rolls to the side almost, and then tries to get back up on his footing.
And as you get back up on your footing, there's that same impassiveness as the creature extends its other hand upwards, and the claw in that hand, in its long reaching fingers, extends again. Yeah. No, a 23. I just didn't realize how.
23 definitely hits.
Yeah. So, at a point here. So the other claw extends out towards you, and with a roll of 23, this claw plunges into the side of your gut, from just where you've ducked around the first attack, and you feel awful. You feel this absolutely awful feeling, as let's do the damage here. So we have 9 points of slashing damage, and then you feel this awful, sick feeling as you're also dealt 4 points of necrotic damage.
Ooh, yeah, so Janice sort of like grunts out as you catch him in his side, and it's sort of like, It catches him quite easily because he wasn't wearing his armor currently because we were going into a sewer. So it very easily catches him in his side, and he sort of just is, very much caught off guard as this sort of pain blossoms out in a strange way that he's not used to. And he does stumble on his footing a bit as he reels back a little bit and then turns his attention fully on you from his worry about Loren.
I believe I will check my bonus actions, but no, that's it. That will be the end of Galut's turn.
Alright. That brings us back to the top of the initiative with Alton.
Yes. So Alton kind of comes to with like a gasp, is like, the feeding the healing potion that Fishman fed to him kind of like kicks into effect, and he kind of like sits up a little bit, like doubled over, holding onto his abdomen, I guess. Where would a Verlin have stabbed him?
Yeah, abdomen.
Yay, it's doing great there. Like clutches onto it and just kind of like looks around the room wildly, noting Fishman there beside him, like holding or dropped the healing potion. Neris there as well, and Varlin with the bloodied sword. He goes to like stand up, but then kind of grabs his abdomen and kind of wraps like maybe his scarf or like some article of clothing around the wound. So I'm going to do a second wind for that, get some more HP.
Yeah. One.
Oh, okay. So that's 16 points of HP. Excellent. With that extra energy and with adrenaline, he's going to kind of like hold on to Fishman a little bit, maybe like his arm, or just like, I don't know, use him to help stand up. And then just turn to Varlin and in undercommon, just be like, why would you do this? Why was I a threat? I was practically a fucking id. How could you scheming paranoid shit?
The only way to guarantee control. Nothing personal, brother.
Of course. You go for me instead of Vasis because I'm the easier target.
Oh no, Vasis is gone. You
Nicely
think
done,
she
you
would get
finally did
lost
it.
on a mission so easily? No, I set her up on a death chain.
Honorable putting of the family name. And he pulls out like a kind of like a little gadget from maybe his like barbarous sleeve, and just goes to kind of like grab Volin, and electricity kind of sparks from the gadget. Is Volin wearing any metal armor or not?
No.
So just be regular. That is nice. That's a 22 to hit.
22 will suddenly hit. Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay. So that's just 13 points of lightning damage, and he can't take reactions until the start of his next go. Yeah. Yes.
Anything else on your turn, or is that?
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Can I add something real quick? Something that Neris would have seen, and I guess actually everyone in the vault would have seen, is Fishman is like furious because you guys were talking in Underdark, but Fishman still has that spell up, so he just heard everything then, and his veins are popping. He is furious, and there is a deep like growl almost as his teeth kind of come up from where his lips were covering them. You see he's not happy in the slightest, and I think you said you were using maybe his arm or something to hold up. Yeah, he would have maybe put a hand on that and kind of gone to pull back, just as a gesture, not an action. So to pull your arm back as if to say, get back.
Yeah.
All right. Next in line then is Janice outside the vault.
Okay, so Janice, hang on. Just let me get my bearings. What am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm getting attacked. Alright. Okay, so Janice is surrounded by these creations. He's being sort of like bedded down on by this enormous monstrosity, I guess, as per the name. And has just been sort of just gouged at his side. This like the little wetsuit material he has is slashed open. And this horrible sting in his side, which he sort of clutches for a moment as he sort of reels back. And he looks past Galut at where the Renan is, and he's like, hang in there, sister. One moment. And then what's he gonna do? He's gonna try and as he moves, all right, I'm gonna just reset my brain for a moment and then edit that point. Okay. And then Janice is going to sort of reach behind on his back where his glaive was, and sort of in that movement, because I presume we can do that as a free action in our game.
Yeah,
remember.
it's technically an
Awesome.
object interaction. So.
Yeah, he's just got a really good holster.
Yeah.
So he readies his weapon, and sort of he's pretty much like got the other like creations behind him and then Galut in front of him, pretty much, from my understanding, which is not great for Janice.
No, not at all.
No. So yeah, again he calls out, "Hang in there, sister," to the Wren, and he turns his gaze sharply to Galut, and then spreads a big grin over his face. He's like, "All right then, 1-on-1, let's go. Let's get rid. But first, you three better shove off." And then this localized storm begins to grow within the room. It's almost like you feel like there's thunder and lightning bouncing off the walls as Janice begins to rage. His presence begins to sort of bolster itself. And so, bonus action, he goes into a rage. And as a result of that, he will, one lance of lightning will go into, let's say, the little lackey number 2.
Yep.
Or will attempt to hit him. Just gonna double check what the ticket is for that. I think it's a save, actually. Sorry, so I will summarize that in a moment once I've found that feature again. I should prepare this. Sorry, everyone.
Use save.
If it is a save, Darby, I will remind you, as they are currently seen as allies of a sort, co-workers.
They're within 5 feet.
There will be a +3 to those saves.
Alright. Okay, so I'm
For those
gonna
ones.
summarize what I do from the rage point. So Janice flies into a rage, and as part of my storm aura, let's say that one creature of my choice takes lightning damage, so it's Dex save 16, and we'll put that onto lackey number 2 to my left currently.
That's 18.
18, so it does make it, but it still takes half damage. So it takes half of 9 points of lightning damage.
Okay.
So this lightning still crackles through them, even though they have some resistance that bolsters them. And that's his bonus action. Again, this lightning is just bouncing around the room now as it continues to grow, but it is not that noisy, surprisingly. And then Janice is going to turn to, let's say, lackey number 3, and he's going to bring his glaive down on them. So that's a, hang on, 15 to hit.
15 is just enough. That means they're
15 is just
their
enough.
armor.
Excellent. So that is, just a moment, 1d10 plus 7, so 11 points of slash damage.
Yeah.
And then as the Wave Rider glaive sort of like crackles, it's also an extra point, 5 points of thunder damage.
Okay. I will say you do notice that they seem to take this lightning and thunder damage a bit more harshly.
Okay, excellent. So even though like they seem to be like reacting more strongly to it, he might even notice that something's sort of bolstering their resilience a little bit more. And then so he's whacked down on them, and then butt of the glaive on, let's say, lackey number 5,
Okay.
which is to his south. Yeah. And that is 16 to hit.
16 will hit.
Excellent. So again, that's 16 points of slashing damage,
Right.
and 4 points of thunder damage, as again this sort of like strong crackling vibration almost shakes through them.
So that is enough with the vulnerability for thunder to take that one out.
Yes. And Janice just cackles and then looks over it, and as he does this, looks over at Galut again and is like, "Come on, 1-on-1, once the room is cleared."
All right. Then we go.
Galut does not respond, just looks down at you impassively with that same almost disregarded expression.
Okay. Next we have Valen's turn. And Valen takes the crystal in one hand and the scimitar in the other. He says, "Well, at least you weren't always able to keep up with our games of chess, brother. You were always so many moves behind me." And he strikes almost like a flint onto, like almost like a pair of pieces of flint, strikes the scimitar onto the gem, creating a spark and igniting a fireball. I'm going to need everyone in the room. So that is Fishman, that is 𝗖𝗓s, that is 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, that is even 𝗖𝗓n himself, to roll me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Is this a magical item or a spell?
This is a spell.
I think I get advantage on spell. So, what do you think?
𝗖𝗓s is going to raise up a hand and try and cast counter.
𝗖𝗓n is also going to counter spell.
Mine is at 5th level.
Is at 3rd level. So I do need to roll. I think that's going to do it. Let me double check.
Think of your witty comeback to cut in 𝗖𝗓s if he manages to fail.
It is a 16.
What is this? This is an
It's an Arcana check. The
It's an
DC
Arcana.
is 10 plus the... Oh, not an Arcana check, an Intelligence check. The DC is... what? The DC is 10 plus the spell level, so it was 15. So basically just makes it. So there's this moment of...
Can I still rebarbs that? Is that possible?
What can you read?
No, I can't. Never mind.
No,
don't
it's a
worry.
you use your
reaction.
reaction. Yeah. So you go to almost try to douse.
Oh wait, sorry. Is counterspell a reaction?
Yes.
Yeah.
He can't do reactions because shocking grasp.
Is that start or end of his turn?
Oh, let me double check. Sorry. Fair point. I think it's end of his turn. Yeah. Can't take reactions until it's fucking start. No.
So you go to try to douse the igniting flame with a counter spell, but your magic is torn off the embers as it begins to glow and extend. And yeah, can everyone in the vault please roll me a dex save?
Fisherman got a 21.
That's gonna be enough.
Alison got an 18.
18 is going to be enough.
I got a natural 20.
That is also enough. 𝗖𝗓n did not succeed on his save. 𝗖𝗓n. So, everyone in the vault, because you succeeded on your saves, take 16 points of fire damage. 𝗖𝗓n is going to take 66 points of fire damage.
Can I add something real quick as well?
Yeah.
Fishman raises a finger and a loud boom occurs in the room because he finally got damaged, and he can use this as thunder creeps from Fishman's armor and into his finger and pierces into 𝗖𝗓n. And he takes, let me just double check this as he casts Hellish Rebuke. It's 4d10, so he takes an additional, it's not as much as I'd like, but an additional 11 thunder damage on top of that.
Okay. All right. And as the thunder damage almost blows away and expedites the subsiding of the flame around the room, you all see as the form of 𝗖𝗓n seem to be missing part, as you see half his face missing, where there is dripping bits of melting ice alongside the seam of where his face would be. Sections of his arm and torso are missing, and he says, "Are you still standing, 𝗖𝗓n?
Yes.
You really didn't think that I would face that monster in person, right?" As the melting ice drips down onto the floor. And that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. Thank you for listening, folks.
Thank you for listening. Let us know what you think. Fingers crossed for us to make it out alive.
Yeah.
Bye,
And all the other guys. Bye.
Oh, that's so clever.
Little fun fact for everyone.
Holy shit.
I messaged Darby earlier because when I moused over 𝗖𝗓n, it said 𝗖𝗓n Simulacrum. So I was like, you might want to change that if you want that to be a surprise.
Holy shit. Thanks, Jake. That's oh my god, that's incredible.
Oh my
That's so
God,
clever.
So cool.
But
Oh
yeah, I
my
was
God.
waiting to see when that would show up. And when you said the fireball, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
It
Yeah,
was just
that's
like, why
smart.
the fuck would he be doing a big fireball in the tiny room, like
Yeah.
when he could hurt
Take
himself?
himself out.
That's why. Holy
Oh.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh my
Also, the fucking plot
gosh.
twist that, at least according to Valen, Downton's actual eviler sister, has been taken care of by him.
Holy
Whether
shit.
or not she's dead
That's
or
very
not.
cool.
Damn, holy crap.
That's really cool. Oh, ooh.